I hope you're having a great day. Well, today I want to talk about a problem that we don't consider as a problem. You know, piles and hemorrhoids, these are things, piles, hemorrhoids, acidity, constipation. These are things that most people think it's okay to have. And we go to doctors, we take medications, we take laxatives and all of that stuff. And we begin to live with these problems, not understanding that most of these issues are symptoms that your body is giving you, telling you that something is going wrong in your system, that something is going terribly wrong. And we can keep suppressing these symptoms, we can keep taking as many laxatives as we want to sort out our constipation, but that's a whole different video of how bad laxatives in continuity is really bad for our health. But today I want to talk about piles and hemorrhoids because the more and more we explore into the field of health across our country, the more and more we see these problems, not just amongst the urban population, but we see it in below poverty lines as well. And it's quite disappointing. You can see it at bus stations and rickshaws, everywhere on walls. These are the posters of pile surgeries and hemorrhoid surgeries. You know, advertisements where people are just putting that message in your head that if you have piles and hemorrhoids, hey, here's a solution, surgery for you. You have posters and advertisements advertising surgery for piles and hemorrhoids. So immediately anyone with this problem looking at that will immediately think that, hey, I need surgery, that's the only solution. And I understand that surgery will and may be required for certain very complex, very complicated cases of piles and hemorrhoids where the blood vessels are swollen beyond repair and you need to get it surgically removed. That's for a small population when it has gone unattended for a long time, but everyone else, it is purely caused by poor lifestyle and it has to be reversed with good lifestyle. Surgery should always be the last resort for everything. That's in medical journals, it's everywhere. Surgery has to be the last resort. Invasive procedures, cutting open the body, I'm not against surgery. We need surgery, but it should be the last resort. So we're living in a country where we think that all of these things can be sorted by just cutting something out of the system and our problem's gone. I can't tell you how many people we see who have gone through piles and hemorrhoid surgeries and a few months later they have the same problem back again. And it's common sense to understand why. Because you never addressed the problem at a root cause. You never found out or educated the patient on what is causing your piles, what is causing your hemorrhoids. So you go through a surgery and a few months later you have the problem back up again. And you can't keep doing so many surgeries. So how do you solve this problem? Let's understand exactly what piles and hemorrhoids are. So basically they are swellings that develop inside and around the internal part of your anus. These are soft tissues, they're a mass of tissues, blood vessels, and muscles. Now what happens is when you put a strain, when you strain to pass out your stool, which actually means that you are constipated. So it again comes down to the root cause, which is constipated. When you are constipated, you strain to push out. These muscles get inflamed, the blood vessels get inflamed, and after a while, you have these little piles and hemorrhoids that grow out. Okay, and they are supposed to be surgically removed, but no, not immediately. First, we should change our lifestyles. We should tackle constipation. And the second person who gets it is when there's excessive abdominal. A lot of pregnant women, because as the belly extends, as they have a distension of their stomach and their belly where the fetus is being carried in their womb, it puts down pressure in their abdominal region, which further creates this pressure on them to pass out stools and they strain. So that's also common as well. Obesity and large bellies can also cause this because there's a constant abdominal pressure in the lower part of your body. So basically piles are mainly caused when there is excessive straining and abdominal pressure. Now you see most of these problems can be sorted with dietary measures. Now some of the symptoms are pain, excessive pain. Then you find blood in your stools, you find swellings, you find lumps, small little lumps in the anus region, you have itching, and these are many of the symptoms that you can have and you should never ignore. Now, especially when people have piles and hemorrhoids, and especially if you're living in a foreign country where you're used to using toilet paper, the first thing is you need to go back to the traditional way of cleaning yourself, which is with water. Because when you use tissue paper against an abrased region, which is already inflamed in your system, you're creating more aggravation and more inflammation to the already swollen and the already damaged muscles. Which is why, yes, it is definitely better to use water to clean your private parts more than just toilet paper. Okay, what else causes this? Your diet, a poor diet, a diet that lacks fiber, and also a diet which is very rich in fiber, which is why I keep telling people, have enough of fiber, but don't overdo it on fiber because extra fiber in your system can also cause inflammation in your gut and aggravation in your gut and bloating and all of the other problems. So you shouldn't have less fiber and you shouldn't have too much of fiber. You have to have exactly the right amount of fiber. And now most people will say, how many grams of fiber do I need? Well, you see, you can't say that. In our medical journals, in our nutritional journals, it will be about 30 to 35 grams. No, but it depends on you. If you're able to pass a smooth stool every morning without any pressure, it just comes out with that initial push. You know that you have enough of fiber and you know that you're well hydrated. So it may be 30 grams for some people, it may be 35 grams for some people, it may be 28 grams for some people. Some people who have IBS will not be able to have 35 grams. So don't go by that kind of mentality of how much do I need. Go by what your body's telling you. The best feedback that anyone can ever give you about your health and your body is your own body. For that, we need to be mindful. We need to constantly listen to what our body is telling us. If we have a headache, what's our body telling us? If we're constipated, what's our body telling us? If we're constantly fatigued, what's our body telling us? Because these are symptoms, and symptoms are your body doing the right thing at the right time. It's warning you. If you take heed to that, if you pay heed to it, you can solve the problem. So diet, sitting too long, a sedentary lifestyle, when you sit too long, there are chances that you will have constipation, you will have sluggish blood flow to your colon, to your intestines, especially after your meals. And yes, you can have piles and hemorrhoids. And people who have piles and hemorrhoids, sitting for a longer period of time will actually make it more and more uncomfortable and aggravated, which is why they have those special little pool pillows which have a hole in the middle like a donut where you can sit so that there's all the stress of sitting doesn't come on your anal region and aggravates the whole issue. So let's move straight to the solutions. Number one of the biggest problems India has are heavy dinners. Okay, we need to understand that dinner should be the lightest meal of your day. And if it's going to be a heavy meal, that's not a problem. Eat it earlier. So you have at least 3 to 3.5 hours of gap between your bedtime and between your dinner meal. So you still have a choice. You want to have a heavy dinner because that's the meal of the day where you're with your family, you've come home after a hard day's work. Do it, but do it earlier. Okay, a big problem is having heavy dinners with a lot of deep fried foods and oils. All of this slows down the blood flow to your colon, to your entire your system. It creates sludge, it creates slowness and lazy intestine syndrome. Too much of spice in the night can also cause this for people who have weak colons and who already have constipation issues. Now, for people who can have spicy food and oily food and they yet have a great bowel movement in the morning, it's okay for you. We're talking about people. When I talk, you need to take what applies to your life because you're unique. You don't have to do everything I say. If it applies to your life, do it. If it doesn't and everything's fine with your bowel movement, you have no piles and hemorrhoids, it's as simple as that. Don't do it. Just let this be a check for you. Increase your fiber. If your diet is full of only protein and animal meat and all of these things and it lacks fruits and vegetables, you are low on fiber. It's as simple as that. You need to increase your fiber because the two things that can keep constipation at bay is your water intake, because water forms the bulk of the stools, which enables us to push it out of your colon, and your fiber. Fiber has a mechanical process in the body. There's no nutrition in fiber. It has a mechanical process. It moves down, pulls a lot of cholesterol, pushes through your colon, your intestines, and pushing out, helping to form the bulk of your stools and out of your system. Something for people who already have piles and hemorrhoids, this is an Ayurveda and it's super powerful. There's something called Triphala powder. It's available on Amazon. It's available in all of your stores and your Ayurvedic stores. You want to get a good, even normal pharmacies have it because even doctors use this for extreme constipation. You need about 3 to 4 grams depending on how constipated you are. You mix it in a glass of water and you have it in the night before you sleep the next morning to help you pass out a good motion. Because remember, if you already have piles and hemorrhoids and you're still constipated and you're pushing, you're just making the piles and hemorrhoids worse. Castor oil, this is my favorite. All our parents and our parents' would have this habit of giving us a tablespoon or a teaspoon of castor oil while we were growing up, maybe once or twice a month. And it was perfect for us to keep our guts clean, to keep candida at bay, and to keep our bowel movement completely working. So people who have this should take about 3 to 4 ml or even 5 ml of castor oil. Okay, plain. In the night before you sleep, you can have it plain or you can mix it with milk, a good quality hormone-free milk. You can mix it with milk and have that, and that's actually going to help you with your bowel movement and your constipation, and it works beautifully because the essential substance in castor oil basically breaks down in your small intestines. It produces like a spasm effect, which means it moves your intestines to push out your stool. Most of us have lazy intestines. That's why we pass a motion, but we still feel that we've not completely evacuated because we have these little pockets in our lazy intestines that are unable to push out. That's when you increase your water, your fiber, or you use things like castor oil. Castor oil can also be used externally. So if you put your finger in your anal region and you find that you have piles or these little loose pieces of skin hanging, which is nothing but swollen tissue, you can use castor oil as an external application as well. A lot of elderly people tend to strain because they're very weak. Okay, and if they're weak, they tend to strain more. So using castor oil can also enable you to have a good motion. Castor oil works very different from your commercial and pharmaceutical laxatives. We should take pharmaceutical laxatives when it's prescribed to us, but remember, it also flushes out all of your electrolytes, and it also messes up your gut bacteria as well. Cure your constipation. If you have constipation, the first thing with piles and hemorrhoids is cure your constipation. It's not just for piles and hemorrhoids, it's for every aspect of your gut, from immunity to inflammation to your hormonal balance to depression, anxiety, and everything else. So we post a video because we've done videos on constipation as well. We post that separately. Fiber in moderation, water intake. Things which are quick fiber and great fiber and that has a lot of roughage are your green leafy vegetables. Carrots, cucumbers, flax seeds, black raisins soaked overnight. You take about 7 to 10 black raisins, soak it overnight. In the morning, you drink the water and you eat them. Prunes and vegetable juices like a carrot juice, a cucumber juice. This is rich in fiber. So you already have high fiber foods. The question is your diet balanced? Okay, so if you're constipated, your body's telling you that you're not getting enough of fiber and water and nutrients and you don't have the right amount of lifestyle. So before we resort to surgery, please understand, if you think surgery is a quick fix method for you, you may have the money for the surgery, you may have the contacts for the surgery, but please understand, if you don't address the problem at a root cause level, it is going to come back over and over again, and you cannot keep doing surgery. So first try to change your lifestyle, find out why is it happening in my body. Just cutting something out of your system isn't going to be the solution. So remember, surgery should be the last resort. Finally, you take your medical advice, but number one, understand that it is lifestyle. The ads that we want to look around is boosting fiber, boosting water intake, educating people on how piles happens and how to eradicate it, rather than just an ad that just says, hey, here's a discount, a 40% discount on a piles and hemorrhoid surgery. You induce fear into the public of the people, and people believe that's the only way. And that's how we treat piles and hemorrhoids. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.